Welcome, everybody, to Homemade. I am so glad you're here today. We are making the most gorgeous food, and I cannot wait to share it with you. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Bonnie. I'm going to be your guide today through the land of Fulton Fish Market and do-it-yourself poke bar. Aw, yeah. That's what we're up to today. Joining me today in the chat is Chef Amy. How you doing, Amy?
I'm great, Chef Bonnie. I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited you're here, too. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you all so much for being here. This is super, super exciting. If this is your first time joining us, thank you so much for being here. You're on YouTube where we are live right this minute. So go ahead and click subscribe, click thumbs up, check us out. We got tons of stuff going on here. And this particular show with the Fulton Fish Market is extra amazing. This is one of our very earliest sponsors. So this goes back to 2021. That's how long we've been working with them. But how long have they been working? I don't know, since like 1822. Yeah, you heard me right. So this is like a 200-year-old fish company. It's incredible. They have been delivering fish around the country and the world for a long time. So let's give it up for Fulton because they're amazing. And we're going to talk a lot about the products that we're using here today, of course, and just deep dive into it. So are you ready to go? Are you ready?
Let's do this.
Let's do this thing. Okay, so we are going to do a do-it-yourself poke bar, which I love. I love, first of all, do-it-yourself anything. It's so fun to be able to do that, but not if it's really hard. I like it when I can get all the components together and then, just knock it out and share it. I mean, that's really my favorite thing about cooking is then you get to eat it with people. And when you do a bar, like a poke bar or a taco bar, whatever you're doing, it's extra special because people get to mix and match and put together exactly what they want. Maybe they really love seaweed salad or they really love tuna or whatever the combination is, and they get to do that. So we'll talk about the components that we're going to be adding a little bit later. But I just want to talk to you a little bit about poke itself. So poke, I feel like it's funny, we didn't ever know about poke until, the last 20 years or so here on the mainland. It was not like a thing that you got to see just any old place, and now it's so popular and so amazing. But let's go back to the roots of this. So poke is a Hawaiian dish. Very classic, old school Hawaiian dish. The word poke actually means to cut crosswise. So it refers to the way that the fish look in the bowl, cut, right? Nice little crosswise cuts. Traditionally, it's really simple. It's made with fresh fish, it's made with salt, it's made with seaweed, and this kukui nut. You can get kukui nuts in specialty markets too, so have a look out for them, and if you see them, grab some. But as it made its way to the mainland, poke really evolved into a customizable bowl. So the format that we see today where you can mix and mingle, that's what we're doing today, and that really is something that has evolved over time. So this class is going to celebrate that balance, right? We're going to respect poke's roots. We're going to embrace a modern build-your-own format. And because we're working with raw fish today, I want to call out to you how important it is to have a trusted seafood source. So not all seafood is handled the same way. We don't have strict regulations about how seafood should be handled. It really is, the onus is on the seafood producer to take excellent care of your seafood. And what I like about Fulton is they really shine here. So it's expertly selected, it's traceable, it's handled with the level of care raw preparations demand. So that's one of the reasons that we'd like to partner with a quality market like this, because they have spent 200 years figuring out the absolute best way to take care of fish and present it to you so you feel safe. And so also you get to enjoy gorgeous, gorgeous fish. And I don't know how much you know about Fulton Fish Market. They have this great subscription. So you can actually subscribe to a whole bunch of different options. And with your first subscription order today, you can get an exclusive $50 off, which is really cool. Normally, they have a little discount for first-time subscribers of $20. But if you put homemade as the code in there, you're going to get $50 off, which is awesome. It's a huge boost. You want to start cooking more seafood at home? Yes, you do. And this is how you're going to do it. So check out all the subscriptions later. Right now, we got to work and talk and do our thing. But no, it's going to be there for you, and then Amy's going to put that in the chat, where to go, right? How to get access to that.
It's there. The link is right there.
I love it. Okay, cool. So a couple notes about fish we'll get into in just a minute. I want to talk about the rice quickly, just so we can get the rice ready to go. The rice is definitely an addition. I'm using sushi rice today. And so that's going to be a short, little fat grain that has a ton of starch in it. Rices have a couple different kinds of starch in them, and we want the short fat ones so we get lots of creamy, starchy rice. And that's what we're doing here. So this rice is right out of the bag or box. It hasn't been touched at all. I wanted you to just see it. It reminds you a little bit maybe of risotto rice, those other short fat grains. So the trick with this rice is we need to actually rinse it. So if you see rice that is white like this, that means that it's been put through a tumbler with a polishing compound, and that's going to wipe off all that exterior of the rice. So you got to wash off the polishing compound first and foremost. And so basically any white rice you should rinse at least once. But for sushi rice, we're going to rinse it multiple times. And that's because I don't want it to be gummy. I want it to be fluffy and lovely. No gummy rice, okay? So I'm going to take my rice over to the sink, and I'm going to pour a bunch of water in here, and I'm going to start rinsing it. This takes a couple times. It's usually like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7, 8 times that you're going to rinse it, which sounds like a lot, but I want to show you why. If you have a smaller amount of rice, you can do the whole thing in your sieve. So can you see, like I didn't even start rinsing it yet. I just poured water over it. Do you see how cloudy that water is? See that? That's all like polishing compound and starch. So if I keep it down in the water, and by the way, if your sieve is too small, just do this right in the bowl. So I'm just going to go back and forth. And the reason you want to use your hands and not just run the water over the sieve is because when those little grains rub up against each other, they slough off a little bit of starch. So they actually have a little friction that helps you get rid of some of that extra starch. You do want a little starch. It's going to give you some flavor, and it will help hold the rice together. And for sushi, you definitely want your rice to have a little bit of tackiness or stickiness to it. But look at that. That's one pass. Can you see that?
It's like milk now.
Yeah, for sure. Nice starchy rice milk. Okay, so I'm going to dump this, and then you're going to do that like, I would say up to 10 times. So it depends on how much rice you're doing. It depends on, how rigorous you are when you're doing it. You don't want to break the kernels, but you do want to make sure that you're getting rid of most of that extra starch. There's still plenty of starch in the rice kernel, so when you cook it, that rice is going to come out. So don't worry about that. But even now, all I did was pour water in. See how cloudy it is again? So like I said, you're going to do this 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. Did you ever see Hero Dreams of Sushi, that movie?
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard of it.
It's super great, but there's one of the reasons is I mentioned it is, the sushi master is quite meticulous, and he has a guy who has been washing rice. That's all he gets to do is wash the rice, make the rice for a decade. So there's always room to get better, right? All right, so I just want you to see this. Now, eventually when you're done, it's going to look like there'll just be a tiny bit of water starch that's going to come off. And when you get to that point, you're done. I'm going to do one more just because I really want to make this point. Okay, so here we go. So I'm not rinsing this one right now. I just want you to see the water. It's going to be a little bit less cloudy than that when it's ready. So I did this. This is about to be my third one. So I would say do that probably 3 more times, and you'll be done. Okay? All right. And if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. Amy will throw them to me, and we can talk about it. But since the dish is going to have this base of rice, it's important to get your rice situation correct. And also, you might be making some sushi sometime with this gorgeous fish, or have some, other dishes with your rice. So it's a good thing to master. Magic of television, here's my finished rice that I made a little earlier. I've been letting it sit here and steam for about 20 minutes. And I did use a rice cooker for it. And it's going to come out in a big puck right now because I didn't fluff it up or anything yet. Rah. Oh, it's not even going to come out in a puck. It's just saying, no, thank you. It needs to be coaxed. Oh, you see that? By the way, I'm about to
There
lose
it
my
is.
vision because I'm going to get steamed up here. So this is 3 cups of cooked rice here. The one I was showing you, I did 2 cups just to give you a sense of about what you need to do for rinsing. But this is 3 cups, so this is a good amount of rice. Yeah.
Does the quantity of rice would more rice mean you'd have to rinse it more?
Yes. 100%. Okay, so this is just rice, and what I don't want to do is like smash it down. I want to just lightly sort of cut through it with the side of my rice spatula. If you don't have a rice spatula, a regular spatula is totally fine. You could use a knife even, but I'm just trying to like lighten it up a little bit. And it's very beautiful. It's warm and steamy, which is great. So don't work it too much because I don't want it to get gummy. I'm going to dress it with some seasoning. So this is in your recipe, but this is a combination of rice wine vinegar, some sugar, and some salt. And that's it. Really super simple. But you can make this yourself. It's nice because then you get the combination that you like. You can also feel free to buy seasoned rice vinegar. It's those 3 ingredients in there, but I like to do it myself so I know what I'm getting. You can heat this up to cause all those ingredients to dissolve. I just set this up about an hour ago while I was getting my class ready, and it just dissolved in the thing. So I'm not too worried about that, but if you were worried about getting it done in a hurry, absolutely warm it up, because it will, of course, cool the rice down a little bit too. You might not need it all right at once. You're just going to kind of lift up from underneath. But this is a really important step. If you don't season the rice, it's not sushi rice. It's just steamed rice. So you want to actually season the rice, because that's a whole bunch of starch that you're going to be eating. And if it doesn't have any seasoning, it's just going to be, it's not going to have any flavor. It's just going to taste like blah, blah, blah starch. What you're going for is something that's a little bit sweet, a little bit sour, and has a little bit of seasoning so you can taste those other ingredients. Taste the sweetness of the rice. And you see how it's kind of falling off my spatula now a little bit, but if I see spots that need a little more love, I'll just give another bit in here around the edges. And it smells amazing. If you make a big batch of this like I am and you're not feeding a big crowd, it'll keep. So you can pop it in the fridge, and then when you want to reconstitute it, you can drizzle it with a little more of your seasoning or even just some water. Put a paper towel or a clean kitchen towel on top of it and pop it in the microwave for 30 seconds at a time and just keep fluffing it up and it'll come right back to life. Which is nice because I feel like I always have a little leftover rice. And if I'm going to love my rice like this, I hate to let it, go to waste. So there we go. Okay. And, you can taste it. Make sure you're happy. Make sure you got what you needed. If it needs a little more action, you can check it out. You're also kind of checking your texture, too, to see if it's going to work. Okay. So that's your rice. Beautiful. It's delicious. It should have a little bit of tang and a little bit of sweet, and salt, and that's gonna counter the other ingredients that we're gonna add to this. So I am going to take a damp towel, and I'm just gonna lay it on top of this, just to keep it from drying out, and we'll just set it aside. It doesn't have to be smoking hot when you serve it. It's just gotta be dressed and ready to go. All right, Rice 101. Cool? Are you in?
I'm ready for that.
I know, I'm ready for that.
I just want that, yeah.
I know, just
nice
like
base
rice
there.
and vegetables,
And
all
put some
good.
fish
It's a
on
great,
there.
quick bite. But why are we here? We are here to talk about the most amazing fish. We are here to talk about something beautiful. This way comes. Okay, so for this class today, we're going to do 2 different pokés. So a lot of similar ingredients, but the star of the show is going to be the fish. So I have some salmon and I have some ahi tuna, and these are like this is how it's going to come to you when you buy it from Fulton Fish Market. And I love it because they do this amazing, they call it freshly frozen seafood. Oh, that's a great picture. So what you want to know about this is, I feel like frozen seafood got a bad rap at some point, and suddenly people were like, oh no, it's got to be fresh. And yeah, if you're standing on the boat, or you're standing at the dock, or you just pulled a fish up out of the sea, that's fresh. That's going to be amazing. But if you're not the person doing that fishing, the time that it takes for them to get that fish to you can be days or longer, depending. So having a fish frozen when it's perfectly fresh and bright is really great. And a lot of these fish, especially something like a tuna, I don't know if you've ever seen a tuna, but they are massive, massive animals. And they get brought in every day, you know, on these huge pallets of ice, and then they get sized, and all this crazy stuff happens. So, and then they get shipped all over the world from wherever they're sourced. So a lot of times what they'll do, depending on the type of fish, is as soon as they pull it up out of the water, it goes on ice immediately. It gets cleaned, you know, all the innards taken out and whatever. And then some of these boats are equipped with these freezers, these super fast flash freezers, and they drop the temperature of the fish down so fast that ice crystals can't form in the flesh of the fish. And that's super important, right? Because if you think about water, when water freezes, it gets bigger, and it creates these crystals, and it tears through the cell walls. So if you take a piece of fish and throw it in your freezer's not freezing it fast enough to have those ice crystals kept at bay. So those ice crystals will form, they'll tear apart the cell walls, and then when you defrost it, it's like floomp, and all this water comes out of it, and it's just a little bit sad. If you flash freeze something in a big professional freezing situation where you have all of that equipment available to you, those ice crystals don't form, so it's like you just pulled the fish up off the boat, which is quite amazing, right? I mean, like, how delicious to get it absolutely at its peak freshness. So I just want to point that out to you, because I feel like, you know, frozen fish or frozen anything got like a bad rap at some point, but most of the time these days, when things are frozen in the peak freshness, you're gonna get all that flavor, all that joy, all that like incredible flavor in your mouth, and that's what you wanna have. So let me know if you have any questions about that too, because it's kind of cool to talk about. Why do we freeze fish that's for sushi or sashimi? That's another question. Ceviche, any of those fishes. Why do you think they get frozen in the first place? I mean, yeah, right off the boat, I want it to be perfect, but there's got to be something going on there. What do you think? Am I getting any responses? Is anybody talking to me?
I think they're waiting for you to share.
Are you waiting for me to deliver? Okay. All right. So when you go to the market and you're like, I am going to make some sashimi tonight. I'm going to make sushi. I'm going to make poke. And you go pick up your fish. What you will discover is there will be a section of the fish market where it is for sashimi or sushi grade, and there will be a section that is not, and they are not next to each other. That's because the sashimi grade or sushi grade fish, it has to be frozen in this way that we discussed to make sure that there's no living parasites or any problems with the fish. They kill off any bacteria or anything like that in that process. So you can't do that in your home freezer either. So that's one of the reasons they do that. And it's really important to know. And I think what's cool is you also lock in the texture, you lock in the flavor, and you lock in the nutrients. So that's a really nice thing to understand about why you're going to these lengths. And the other thing is, I go to the fish market sometimes, and I might have something in my brain, but maybe they don't have it today. I love buying it from Fulton because then it's in my freezer, it's ready to go, and it's really quick to defrost. They have a really great guide to how to defrost the fish on their website, so you can check it out.
And I threw that link in the chat for everybody.
Okay, links in the chat. I love it. Okay, so this is the ahi. Let's see. Can you see that? I got cilantro in my way. There we go. Okay, so this is a beautiful piece of ahi tuna. You can see the color. It's nice and dark and rich. The other thing I like to point out, too, is you see this white part right here? That the lines are the little connective tissue, but that white, that's like lush and fat. So that's good. You want to see that when you buy a piece of tuna. You want to see some nice lush fat in there. So what I'm going to do is, this is still pretty cold, so I'm going to slice it now. Definitely take your fish and put it in your fridge overnight, and then in the morning, it'll be still a little bit firm in the middle, you know, out of your freezer and into your fridge. And so you can really easily cut it into nice, clean pieces. So see how beautiful that is?
It looks like it's slicing really nicely.
Oh, yeah. It's just, I can't tell you how gorgeous this fish is. It's absolutely breathtaking. And it's already been cleaned, so you don't have to worry about like taking out the bloodline or anything like that, which is great. And now I'm just going to slice down. And I'm trying to get all my pieces to be roughly the same size. So I cut these about, you know, like a 1/2 inch or so. Now I'm going to come in this way, so it comes about a 1/2 inch. Oh, by the way, it was all I could do earlier today to not just start eating fish because it looks so beautiful. All right, so now I'm just going to do little cubes. And again, the colder any protein is, the easier it is to slice up. So you want to try and cut up your proteins, especially fish, like when it's cold. And I did do one of these. So your recipe is going to call for 2 packs of each fish that we're using today. So I did one already, that's in here. And now I'm just going to add in the second one. Because we're making big bowls of poke. I got some poke eaters in the house today. So as soon as we're done here, some people are going to be noshing. Is anybody making this right now in real time?
I did. Someone said earlier that they were getting ready for dinner. So
good.
I'm assuming that we have
I
at
love
least
that.
one.
Good, good, good. That's great. Well, it's also pretty fast. And the other nice thing about this is it's not ceviche, right? So I'm not just curing the fish with acid or firming up the proteins with acid. Instead, I'm seasoning them. And what's nice about that is I can do this a little bit ahead of time, get myself and my kitchen all cleaned up before people show up, and then boom, dinner, lunch, brunch, whatever. I think this is really a great thing to do around the holidays because you do all the prep ahead of time. Even my little garnishes, I already cleaned, chopped up, so we could just mostly talk about fish and putting this together. Rice is done. That's easy. You can basically rinse your rice and then have it cooking while you're doing other things. And it's fabulous. I was talking to my husband today, and I was like, I think this is our Feast of 7 Fishes this year. Because sometimes I make a 7 fishes pie, or I try not to make like actually 7 fishes if I can avoid it. But I do think it's so fun to have like options. And once you knock this out a couple times, you'll be like, oh, I think I'll try it with this fish. I think I'll try it with that fish, right? There's a lot of different kinds of tuna. There's ahi, there's albacore, there's yellowfin. There's different kinds of salmon, right? So start exploring and finding the flavors that you like. Okay, so that's my tuna. And this is raw and totally ready to eat. I could take a spoon and put this in my mouth right now. It would be completely fine because it's been flash frozen, which is great. Okay, now I'm going to switch up to a little bit of salmon, and I'll show you that one too. But I hope you're like thinking about what you can do, making a plan. It's really cool because a lot of the ingredients I'm going to use to season this with are, essentially the same. So the ingredient that really shines is the fish. So you get to have like these different fish flavors, right? Like what does ahi really taste like? It's lush, it's a little bit bright. It's got this tang to it. What about salmon? Salmon is so lush and amazing, especially, a beautiful Atlantic farm-raised salmon like this one. I also encourage you, if you're into fish, like I am, I do encourage you to do a little deep dive on the Fulton Fish Market website. It is really well laid out, and they have so many great sections that answer a ton of the questions that you might have about fish, how to make it. There's a whole section from homemade where you can see us making stuff. But the other thing I love is it's like, it tells you a little bit more about it. Like I did a deep dive on uni today, and it was quite amazing. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. So definitely check it out. All right, so salmon, beautiful fillet. So this salmon has the skin on it, which would be great for grilling or searing. It's okay if you want to leave the skin on. The skin is where so many of those beautiful fats are. So if you want to leave it on, by all means, absolutely leave it on. What I like to do is I like to take the skin off, and then I fry it up, and I have it with like eggs in the morning. So I don't ever let the skin go to waste. That's me personally. But you decide. You know who you are. My fellow like lovers of the skin out there. I know you. We're talking to each other. Okay. So here's my skin. I'm just going to get this started on whatever the thicker end is of the skin, and then you can just flip it over and kind of run your knife underneath.
I asked folks what their go-to poke fish was. So we have
good.
someone who's at ahi and salmon, so they're prepared for
nice,
today.
Perfect.
Halibut is one. Rockfish.
Yep. Oh,
Lots
nice.
of-
Yeah, I really love those snapper and rockfish ones. They're a little more unexpected, which is great.
We do have a question.
Yeah.
Could you speak to the color of the tuna? This person says they've seen it from bright pink to dark red.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there are inside the tuna world, there is quite a variety. Not just like inside ahi, even depending on which ocean it was fished out of. So they range all over. So you can get tuna, ahi tuna, from many parts of the Pacific. So it's really going to depend a lot on what the fish are actually eating. How far their range is. So that does have an effect on the color. The one thing to really notice is whether it leans more in the pink direction or more in the red direction. You want to notice the white, how much white is in it, because the white is where all that super lush fat is. So when you see a lot of fat in it, it's going to have that really creamy flavor. Like, look, I can kind of show you, Richard. So you see that? See how there's like some darker, really jewelly looking ones, and then there's these creamier, lighter ones. So it's nice because you usually are going to see both of those things in one piece of fish. So you mix them together and it makes for nice, luscious bites, but not like full-on fatty tuna, right? Because the fatty tuna is going to be, they'll get a fish in, it'll be extra lush and fat. It'll be that section of the fish where most of the fat is, and so that's how they'll sell that. But yeah, the color is not something to worry about by any means. Like, it doesn't have to be a specific color, but it's going to be in that range, that beautiful bright red to sort of almost like reddish brown. Good question. And I love that this fish is just a tiny bit like cold in the middle. So when I'm cutting it, it's really easy to cut because this salmon, I can just feel how oily it is. And so it's a lot easier to cut when it's cold, right? When fats get warm, they get really, really soft and mushy, and I don't want that. I want like nice crisp lines. And of course, you're going to defrost in the fridge anyway. You're not going to defrost on your counter and let it get warm. It's not really safe to defrost a piece of fish just out on your counter. You can put it in, keep it in the little wrap that it arrives in, and you can run cold water over it in your sink, and that will help to speed the process along if you forgot to take it out. I don't recommend like trying to nuke it or something, like trying to speed it along that way. I would say cold water in the sink is probably the best way to do it. If you ever walk into a restaurant, a lot of times during the day when everybody's prepping, you're going to see somebody's got some protein in the sink and they're running very cold water over it to just speed up the process. So you can do that at home. It's pretty fast on these. I like that they're packaged in this size, so they do defrost pretty quickly. Look at that color. Isn't that gorgeous?
I love the contrasting colors, too, of our two fish today.
I know. Yeah, they're really great. They're really beautiful. And, when you're doing this at home, if you're like, I better make sure the fish is okay, you can. You just pop a little cube in your mouth. Quality control. Okay. Et voila. I have to say, full confession, I have a poke-obsessed child. She has recently decided that it is her favorite food. And she would eat it every day if she could.
Does she have a favorite?
These are her two favorites.
Okay.
She generally does a little scoop of tuna and a little scoop of salmon, and it's just so sweet. She just loves it. And I like that she's getting all those beautiful fish oils every day, or many days a week. And a little goes a long way, too. That's the other thing. And it becomes more economical when you have these packets in your freezer that you can pull out anytime. You don't have to remember to swing by the fish market to pick them up. And they're perfect and fresh until, you pull them out. So they can be in there for a couple of weeks, a couple of months, and you still have this beautiful, pristine fish when you're ready to work with it, which I think is great. All right, so let's throw together some poke. Are you ready for some poke?
We're ready.
Okay, all right. So I have them side by side on these like identical trays. I just wanted you to see how similar the combination of ingredients is gonna be. So first of all, salmon here, tuna here, right? So they're both gonna use some soy sauce or tamari. I'm using tamari today. Soy sauce is gonna have fermented wheat and soy in it. Tamari is just fermented soy. So if you have people in your life who can't tolerate gluten, make sure you're serving them tamari. Over here in salmon land, I have some, let me just get this in the bowl so we can start talking about it. Oh my gosh, look at that. It's like actually oily. Oh, magic. All right, so the tamari is going in. And yeah, you can totally mix the whole thing ahead of time before you add the fish. That's totally fine. Why don't I do that in one bowl and then I'll do it in this one and the other one. Okay, so tamari in this one. All right, so that's my salt. You don't have to use sea salt because you have tamari. Now I'm gonna add some toasted sesame oil. So that's to lush it up a little bit more. Also, because the sesame oil is toasted, it's giving you an extra beautiful bit of flavor. It's just much more lush when it gets toasted up. All right, and then let's give this a little stir. Okay, and then I'm gonna add to this one, I'm gonna add some sriracha because it's gonna be a spicy salmon. You could also use chili flakes if you wanted to. There's lots of beautiful stuff. If you go to your Asian market in particular, there are some absolutely amazing, combinations of all kinds of magic in those condiment aisles where there's just every combination of nori and sesame seed and different kinds of furikake. It's just amazing. All right, and so for this one, and this one, we're going to use a little bit of rice vinegar, so that's going to be your acid. Also, for the salmon, I'm also using a little bit of mirin. Mirin is a cooking wine, a Japanese cooking wine. So we'll get that in there. And again, there's not enough acid in here to really cook the fish like a ceviche, so that's why I was saying it's great to do ahead of time. I'm not talking days ahead of time. I'm saying like hours ahead of time. And then just keep it in your fridge covered until you're ready to serve it. Okay. All right, this is one of my favorite ingredients. This is Kewpie mayonnaise. It's Japanese mayonnaise. It's very specific. The thing that's great about Kewpie mayonnaise, if you don't have it, you just use regular mayonnaise. This one uses just egg yolks, so it's richer, and it's very umami. It has MSG in it, which I know got a bad rap like in the 70s or whatever, but MSG is actually pretty great in small quantities, and it really just gives you that umami bump that you want to have. And that's what's going to make this one creamy. And it also comes in this really cool squeezy bottle. It's really handy. And it just gives it an extra little tang.
There's a question here. Someone wants to use chili crisp with oil.
Yeah.
So they want to know if they should reduce the amount of sesame oil.
Is your chili crisp in sesame oil? And if so, yes.
I think it says in oil. I'm not sure if it's sesame oil.
The sesame oil, it's such a small amount. It's like a tablespoon. So you could take that down a little bit, but it's really for that toasted sesame flavor. It's going to get enhanced. It's going to enhance the flavor of my toasted sesame seeds, which I'm going to add in now. So toasted sesame seeds, and then some scallions. All right. The crazy thing is that like this is basically done now. Look at that. Isn't that so pretty? The scallions really are lovely because they brighten it up a little bit. So I think our recipe calls for 1. If your scallions are small, use 2. Make it great. All right, so I'm just going to set that here, get this out of our way. But yeah, I mean, with the chili crisp, you're going to use, you're going for it's the chili flavor that you want. But you also want that toasted sesame flavor. So I doubt it's in, I would be surprised if it's in sesame oil, but maybe it is. All right, so here's this guy. Now this has a little bit more fresh ingredients in it. So these are just some chopped onions, like a sweeter onion, a brown or, a little sweet Vidalia or something. So get those in there. So the heat comes from different places. So I got sriracha in one, and I've got fresh onion and some fresh garlic in this one. So if you don't have one of these microplanes, go get one because they're so great. You're going to use them all the time. I love how handy they are. So whenever you're going to do something big and hard like this, you're going to stabilize on a surface. If you try to like draw this across, it's not going to work for you. So get this on your surface and then just start doing this. And use the whole tool. They do eventually wear out. And then if you're saying, where is it? There it is. Ah, there it is. So I would say go for about a teaspoon-ish. This is maybe a little more than a teaspoon. It's probably like 2 teaspoons, but I love ginger. Someone once told me that ginger realigns your chi, and I think that sounds amazing, so I'm fully in for that. Right?
Yeah, I love ginger also, so if that bonus.
Bonus!
Yeah.
Yeah. Who needs a supplement when you can just eat ginger? Ginger tea. All right. And then a little bit of salt, because I don't have anything, I don't have much salty in here. I have a little bit of tamari, but not like the mayonnaise and the sriracha, which are also seasoned in the other dish. And then, you know, I actually want to do some scallions in here too, so let me add some scallions, but let's get this in here too. Oh, I can hear my daughter's voice right now. She's going, oh, that looks amazing.
She's like, where are you bringing this to me?
Yeah, when I told her I was teaching this class, she's like, can I come? But don't worry, we'll do it again at home. Because I'm pretty sure this is going to be on our holiday menu. And I might do 3. I might do like a rockfish or some other fun white fish, right? Because we've got like a salmon, we've got a tuna, and then what we don't have today is a whitefish, but Fulton Fish Market has unbelievably beautiful fish, and there's so many different varieties. So you can just poke around the site, see what's there. And yeah, see how that needs a little bit of color? So I'm going to add a little bit of beauty to that. And I'm sure you know that if you take your scallions and just cut off this like bottom little bit and then stick this part in water, they will keep growing and then you'll have new scallions. So that's kind of fun. Another thing that you can do is like vary the way you cut things so they look a little different. So I did this really big, long, sort of elegant slice on the scallion in the salmon poke, and now I'm doing like kind of a chunky squared off one. So, you know, like the way you cut things can make it different too, which is nice. All right. But aren't those cute? Cute. And also crunchy, right? You're going to get a little bit of texture from that too. So when you think about the ingredients that you're putting into your poke, you can totally experiment. I mean, like obviously try this recipe out, great, but also you got a lot of options. So what if you tried a different kind of onion? What if you tried a different kind of seasoning? Like there's all manner of options that you can do here. So that's your base. So there you go. You got 2 beautiful bowls of poke that are ready to go. And at this point, you cover them and stick them into your fridge, and then they're going to hold in there for like, hours. So I would say do it in the morning. Defrost your fish overnight, and then in the morning, come in and set this up. Right before people get there, you can finish off your rice, and then you're just going to bring out a bunch of condiments and do it, right? Shall I bring out a bunch of condiments so we can do it?
You definitely should. Okay. So you did have the 2 different sort of seasonings for the different fish. Does it matter what kind of fish that you pair with the seasonings?
That's a great question. I think that you can just experiment and see what you like. I don't think it matters that much, right? Because fundamentally, very similar, right? We've got soy sauce, we've got rice vinegar, there's a little bit of mirin in this one. So you've got some acid, you've got some fat, you've got some heat. And so that combination, fat, acid, heat, salt, when you take those things and add them together, they're going to taste delicious because you're going to hit all these different parts of your palate. So every bite is going to be like, ooh, So the fish is really the thing that carries the day because that's where the note is. That's like the melody is this beautiful fish, and you've got all these like wonderful bass and high notes around it, but like the melody that's carrying through is this gorgeous fish. So try either one of these with any fish that you like that's sashimi grade, and you'll be happy. That's kind of a broad, like, for sure you can do anything you want, but you can do anything you want. Okay, I got some condiments here to go with. This is the fun part, right? This is where people can do whatever they want to do, right? They can, if they like rice, they can do lots of rice. If they just want a little tad of rice, great. If they want to heat it up a little more, there's some jalapenos here. They want a little texture. I've got some chili, I got chili crisp in my brain. I've got some crispy onions here. Furikake is a great condiment. It is toasted sesame seeds and nori is the simplest version of that, but it can have other things in it too. Quite delicious, crunchy, beautiful condiment that gives you a nice umami punch. I've got some pickled ginger here, which is wonderful. I love pickled ginger because I get that nice big pop for a minute, but I also have fresh ginger in here too. So you can decide if you want to really lush it up and have this out too. I like having some vegetables also. So in addition to the chilies, those jalapeno there for extra heat, I have some radishes, I have some grated carrot, and I have some seaweed salad. And I love, like this right here, I would just eat this whole thing if we were not on camera right now because it's so delicious. Seaweed salad is going to be dressed, so it generally has a very light dressing. Sometimes there's some sesame oil in there. This one has probably 3 or 4 different kinds of seaweed, and seaweed is so good for you, so it's a really nice thing to add into a dish. And the last thing we have is a little ikuru. So this is salmon roe. So it's so beautiful. It's like jewels. Look at those beautiful jewels. Isn't that gorgeous?
I love all the colors on that plate.
I know, it's really good. And they also have like a smoked, or is it smoked trout? I can't remember. No, it's just trout roe in tins at Fulton Fish Market, which is really beautiful too. So I recommend all of it. You can also have like garnishes. You can have a little ponzu or some eel sauce. You can have some shoyu or a spicy mayo. You can do like any manner of things that you want to add to this. You could actually have like a bunch of squeezy bottles laid out, and people can be like, boop, 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 boop. I'm going to keep it pretty clean and pristine here today, but keep that in mind, because imagine like this is your table or the counter in your kitchen, and people are just moving around, and they're filling up their plates, and then they're going to go sit down, and they're going to feel amazing, right? This isn't like a pile of stuffing. This is like energizing, enlivening, beautiful to look at, incredible to taste food, which is so fun.
Someone said earlier that they like poke with watermelon and avocado.
Oh, yeah. You know what? That's a really great point. We didn't talk about this. But if you have people in your life who don't do fish, you can also do a non-fish option. So the easiest thing to do is get some extra firm tofu and treat it exactly the same as we did the fish. And it's beautiful because you're just talking about enhancing a protein. So pick a protein that makes you happy. You want to do a little bit of chopped up chicken, cooked chicken. You can do that, cooked chicken for sure. If you want to do the tofu, that's really nice. I've done this with like shrimp. I've done it with scallops. There's lots of different things you can do, obviously. And all of those fish you can get from Fulton Fish Market, which is great. So get a little of each and have it in your freezer. And then you're like, today it's going to be shrimp, right? Which is pretty great.
And just to be clear, for the shrimp, scallops, and you talked about cooked salmon, all those would be cooked options to have.
So this is when I trust my fishmonger, right? If you think about, have you ever had, shrimp ceviche or scallop ceviche? So because it's coming from Fulton, I know that it's been flash frozen to -40, so I know it's perfectly safe to have, right? And salmon, I keep mixing salmon and scallops. So scallops and shrimp are extremely delicate and perishable, so they are always frozen. You're never going to go, unless you're literally having somebody shuck them out of a shell for you for the salmon, for the scallops, you're never going to go see anything that was not previously frozen. So you want to get those dry pack scallops, meaning they haven't been injected with a chemical to make them plumped up. It's just ingredients, scallops, period. So that's what you want to see on your label. And same thing with the shrimp. You don't want to see anything added. But they have really beautiful, beautiful shrimp on this website too. So you can pick and choose whatever you want. It's been frozen. It's safe. You can eat it raw. Good question. But you could also have it cooked. So maybe you got people who are like a little unsure about raw fish. So maybe you do like a presentation of beautiful baby scallops would be really pretty in this. You know, saute them up, and then when they're cool, toss them with all those ingredients. That would be beautiful. You could also sear some scallops and have them with this as like a dressing on top, also on your spread. And I guess you could really do Feast of Seven Fishes with just all poke. It could be like, pick your favorites,
That
and it
sounds
would be amazing. Wouldn't that be incredible?
That sounds really fun.
I would love that. All right. Oh, I do want to have a little bit of avocado. I just realized I want a little more lush for this, so let's do a little creamy avocado, too. I didn't want to cut my avocado too soon because I was afraid I'd have then a brown avocado. So avocado, set it down, slice into it on one side, and then once you're, sorry, Richard, and then once you're in there, work your way around the pit like that. So my hands are basically out of the way, and then you can just give it a little twist, and then you have avocado, which is great. And to get this pit out, again, set it down so your hands are nowhere in the way of your knife. And you come in and you just get it, ha-ha, like that. Sorry, I keep doing that to you. So there it is, right? And then you're just gonna give it a little twist, and then that comes out. And then to take this off, what you don't wanna do is have your hand here to pull, because if you pull, sometimes your hand will bounce back and you can cut your hand. So you come from behind and you just kind of pinch off that guy. And then stick a couple toothpicks in it and stick it in water, and it'll turn into an avocado plant.
My mom has so many avocados.
So many avocado plants. I know. Once you
over.
do it once, you're like, magic. Oh my gosh. And they are a really pretty plant. Because especially like up here, we're not going to like grow an avocado tree. So they just kind of hang out and they're beautiful. All right. I don't know who picked out this avocado, but it is beautiful. Really, really pretty. Oh my gosh, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous?
Yeah, that is a good avocado.
That
right
is,
there.
I mean, I got to tell you, we are running a pro ship around here. Everything is so pretty and gorgeous, and we got this incredible fish. All right, so, yeah, look at that avocado. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. I'm always like, I never know what I'm going to get when I open an avocado. It's like a box of chocolates. But look at that. Isn't that so pretty? You can chop it into cubes, too. That's fun. You can do little dish of cubed avocado and just toss it with a little bit of the rice wine vinegar so it doesn't get brown, and you can have that out on the counter. It'll start to break down a little bit, but it'll be fine. At least it'll be green and not brown. Okay. All right, we got to do this. We got to do this. Okay, so get yourself a bowl. And, you know, you basically, you got like a pile of bowls. You give people the option if they want to have some chopsticks or some forks, spoons, whatever. And you just have everything laid out. And it's so pretty. And then they just get to, and they feel so taken care of because you thought of everything, but they get exactly what they want, you know? So get yourself a little bit of rice. And the trick here is you're trying to do a bit of layering. So you want to get some rice in your bowl, as much as you like. And then you want to get some of your beautiful, gorgeous poke in there, right? And then you want to get some other stuff and kind of layer it in there. So you get a little bit of joy there. I mean, me personally, I would do all of this. Now, some people like to do it where you have like each ingredient, you know, in a section so you can see them all. If you're making it yourself, you're just going to put everything in there. If you are doing this to serve people, you can make the bowls where each component is visible, and so they can like mix it up themselves. But when you're doing it yourself, you're like, it's good. So a couple of those for a little bite. Want a little bit of this. And I love furikake. We were talking about this earlier, Amy and I. We just love furikake. And don't you just like to say furikake?
I do. Furikake.
Yeah, furikake.
Love it.
And I'm going to get a little bit of pickled ginger in there. And of course, if it's not just me up here, I maybe have like serving utensils. Get a little of that, a little jaunty angle. And for me, I got to row it. I got to row my boat. I do.
That one got me, Chef Bonny.
This is my respectable amount of row while on camera. When not on camera, all of that, like just right here. Okay. Okay, so there it is. I'm going to taste it. I mean, just to make sure it's okay. What if something went horribly wrong? I would want to know, like, oh boy, you really messed up.
Yeah, you got to prove that for us.
Yeah, you got to quality control it. So, by the way, when you eat this, And you can eat it with whatever you want. If you're like, I'm not dealing with chopsticks, don't deal with chopsticks. It's totally fine. If you're like, oh no, I do chopsticks, then do chopsticks. But when you do this, the goal when you come in is you're trying to get like a little bit of each thing in there. So you're coming in and you just give it a little stir so that when you take a bite, you get just a little bit of everything, like a little bit of rice, a little bit of garnish. Oh, look at that. That's a good bite. Look at that. That is a bite. Do you see my bite? There we go. Okay, here we go. This is so delicious. I cannot wait. Is anybody eating this right now? I need to know if any of you guys are eating this. It's so delicious. Please tell me you're going to go forth and make this because it is incredible. I've got like warm rice. I've got this cool silky fish. I've got this bite of ginger. I didn't even put any avocado in there, but I should have because that would be amazing. There's like roe. The sesame in the furikake is like crunchy, fresh, balanced, totally satisfying. So that is your do-it-yourself poke bar. Are you going to go forth and cook and make beautiful food for your nearest and dearest? Yes, you are. Yes, yes, yes. We're coming into the holidays. This could not be easier. You can knock this out in a morning and have it ready to go. Put your rice on right before people show up, and you are going to be so happy because you're going to have gorgeous food. You're going to take care of these amazing people, and you're going to be a guest at your own dinner party. That's my other favorite thing, right? Don't be in the kitchen when nobody gets to see you. All right, so.
We do have one person who says they're about to eat this bowl.
Yay! I'm so happy. Good job. I can't wait. Let us know how it tastes. So, festive, interactive, island-inspired spread. This is perfect for holidays, perfect for gatherings, or any night you just want something fresh and colorful and fun. So remember that you can shop on the Fulton Fish Market page, so fultonfishmarket.com. And then if you do fultonfishmarket.com/homemade, you can go through and see a whole bunch of videos from us. So we go back, like quite a ways now with these wonderful people. So please go check it out, see what there is to see. Remember how important it is to have a trusted seafood source. And we are full-throatedly recommending Fulton Fish Market because they are rock and roll superstars. Shop Fulton for all of your party needs for the holidays. Here it comes. And remember, it's in the chat, right? You can put code homemade and you get $50 off your first order of your subscription. Is
Correct.
If you
go to that fultonfishmarket.com/homemade, that's also right on the top of the page for you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, y'all, go forth and cook. Make food for your nearest and dearest. Remember, you are also your nearest and dearest, so you get to eat great food too. And thank you so much for being here. We'll see you again next time, and have a wonderful holiday season. Ciao, ciao.